name's Chloe and welcome to KC Anytime Sunday. We're so glad you could join us today. We look forward to some time of worship where I'll also be involved and an interview based on our current series, as well as some special features. We hope you enjoy.
Strong, dear. welcome to another KYA Sunday. Today I'm joined by Alicia. Hello, Alicia.
Hi.
Hello. Now, as always, whenever we do KYA Sundays, we always start off with a game. So we're going to play a really quick game with you today, Alicia, and people can see if they can try and beat you at home. So this is a game that Jen and Johnny taught me at the weekend, and it's just called More or Less. So I'm going to ask you a question, Alicia. You just need to decide if you think the answer is more than what I say or less than what I say, and then people at home can guess as well. So we're going to do 4 questions, and you're going to get a score out of 4. So, number 1, Alicia. Do you think a python, which is like the really big snake, do you think that it can go for more or less than 9 months without eating at all? So do you think it can go for more than 9 months or less than 9 months?
More.
More, very good guess, but it can only go for 6 months, so it's less. So no point so far. Let's see it, but people might at home might have got a point. Okay, next question. Right, this one you need to listen carefully. So 42,906 runners started the London Marathon last year. Okay, that's how many started on the start line. Do you think that more or less than 38,000 people finished it? So do you think that more than 38,000 managed to finish it or less than 38,000 managed to finish it?
I'm going to say less.
You're going to say less.
Yeah.
It is more, so this is not a good run for you. In fact, 42,549 managed to finish, so only about 400 dropped out during it. I would have also thought the same as you. I would have thought loads of people stop halfway through. Okay, question number 3. Does hand washing your dishes, so if you wash your dishes by hand in the sink, does that use more or less water than a dishwasher would?
Uses less, I think it is.
Okay, so again, it's more. Alicia, I will love if you go now for 4 here. However, only if you use a full load of dishes. Like obviously, if you only wash one dish, that's better than putting it in the dishwasher. However, if you were to wash a full set of dishes, that would use 3.5 times more water than a modern dishwasher. Okay, last question, Alicia. Let's see if you can get one. Ready?
Hopefully.
So, my last question is about slugs. So, do slugs have more or less than 2 noses? So, more than 2 noses or less than 2 noses?
More than 2 noses.
Yes.
Finally.
Well done. They actually have 4 noses, so the little tentacles on slugs act as noses for them, so they have 4 each. Okay, Alicia, normally at KYA we'd also get to have a bit of a chat, a catch up. So I was wondering if you could tell us what has been the highlight of your past week?
Coming to see my aunt. So that's why I'm saying right now.
Yeah, oh, you're here right now while you're filming. It's been great, isn't it, being able to catch up with family a little bit more. And Alicia,
yeah.
Could you also tell us something that you are looking forward to at the moment?
Going back to school.
Are you? That is interesting. Why are you looking forward to that?
It's something to do, not just sitting in the house trying to figure out what to do. Yeah.
So just having the structure again. And lastly, Alicia, if you wouldn't mind, could you share a Bible verse with us and tell us why you've picked
it? I'm going to share Isaiah 41, verse 10. And it says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with his right hand." I just thought it was like, it speaks a lot right now because there's so much going on. And in a way, God's going to be there with us and it's going to always help us with it, with like whatever's going on, even with even the pandemic's almost over, but still going to help us afterwards and will always be there to help us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I've really been thinking a lot about that idea of not relying on our own strength, but relying on God's strength during all that. So that's really helpful. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Alicia. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your summer holidays before you get to go back to school, which is what you want.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Hi. During June and July, we've been doing how to get through what you're going through, and I've had the privilege of being able to chat with some of the lovely folks from the King's family, and today I want to welcome David and Denise. Hi guys.
Hi.
It's lovely to have you with us. Been sort of thinking about how much of your story that we could actually share, because there is so much, but thinking that yous have been part of the King's family now for, is it about 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Approximately that. So, and for you, David, it was a coming back to faith.
That's correct. Yeah.
And it was a coming to faith for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, when I was saying that, probably the thoughts are, wow, we've came to faith, we've come back to faith, we've found a new church family, and it should, in all respects, be, and they all lived happily ever after.
Life's not like that, though,
and
is it?
life's not like that, you know. So, and actually, that hasn't to be true been your story, because your faith has been tested in a huge way. So, David, let's start with you, and you tell us a wee bit about the testing of your faith since you've come back.
Well, everything was going great, you know. As you said, the church family, you know, we just fitted in and everything. And then in October last year, I was seconded to a job in Stirling, and I had to park, you know, park about a mile away from where I was working. And then I kind of got a few like twinges in my chest, but I thought, I'm so unfit, you know. It's like tying my shoelaces. I thought, I'm out of breath doing this. You know, I need to get fit. But then things got a bit worse, and I'd been to the doctor, and he'd said he wanted me to go and do a treadmill test, but that got cancelled because the machine wasn't working. And so we went to Nairn on holiday, and you know, all weekend I was really ill and didn't feel right, and came back and called an ambulance. That was on the 27th of October, and I got took to Wishaw, and they kept me in doing tests and things like that, and went to Hare Myers for an angiogram. And as soon as they started doing the angiogram, I thought, there's something not right here, because they just sort of packed up the equipment and said, right, thanks very much. I thought, you know, and I was expecting to say, you need a couple of stents and we'll just do it right now. But that didn't happen. So then went back to the ward, and the doctor who did the angiogram came along and said, you've got 3 severely blocked main arteries. So here's the options. You can either have stents or it's a bypass. And I wasn't sure, you know. So I asked to see. He offered me to see the heart surgeon, and he came along and said, stents isn't an option. Like, you know, you need a triple bypass. Absolutely, you know, stents. No, they probably wouldn't work with you.
And there had been no previous condition or nothing that you were aware of before that?
I was pretty fit. Like, you know, I used to be a triathlon coach and stuff like that. I've been fit all my life, you know, and then.
So a bit of a shock.
Yeah. So then they wouldn't let me out either because it was quite unstable. So I had to wait for. There's only one surgeon in Scotland who could do the operation because of my age. They wanted to take all the arteries out my chest rather than my leg.
Yeah.
There's only one surgeon in Scotland, and he was on holiday, and so I had to wait. I was in Wishaw for a month.
Wow.
And then I had the operation on the 27th of November.
And this was from October, was the beginning of this sort of situation, so we're now in November.
Yeah. first day after the operation, I felt fine. I was up and taking selfies and things like that as well. That was easy. But then suddenly, like, you know, everything went downhill from there. You know, you got
Was a sort of false high?
yeah. It's probably the anaesthetic, and that was still but
There were complications.
very quickly afterwards there was complications, and some of my organs were impacted, and I ended up with pneumonia, and it's quite shame. Denise was pulled into a room twice and said, "We're doing everything we can, Mrs. Williamson," which is like,
Very scary.
And that's the reality of what you were going through.
But God was with me all the time.
Did you have a sense of that, David?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He kept giving me verses and things like that. You know, and you know, that's sharing with the guys on my life group and stuff like that. Like the verses he was giving me, and they were, and God was speaking to them as well, which was really good. And so, although it was a tough time, you know, I felt, you know, God was holding me up to, you know, and giving me the strength. You know?
Amazing.
And so yeah, it was.
And back to fighting fit.
Aye, yeah.
You were saying just before we videoed, you've been away hill climbing.
That's right. Yeah. I got out and then I had an infection and had to go onto a chest vacuum and ended up getting out on Christmas Eve.
I just remember as a church we were doing, you know, it would be, now we're praying for this, and then we need to pray for this.
So
and then
it's funny because when I first went into the hospital, I said my goal was I want to be on the Christmas Eve service. Yeah. And I wasn't, but that's the service I was at, and every time saying, you'll be fine well before then, you'll be fine. And I was like, you know, but that's the service.
And the reality was, I was walking in there that night when he probably shouldn't have been there. He was very ill, but we were so emotional and walking in there because.
And it was the goal.
You did.
And I think for everyone there was that sense of, wow, you're here.
Alright, so as you said, I was way hill walking. I did an 11 and a half mile trek the other on Thursday.
Wow.
Wednesday, sorry, because Thursday was a hot day. On Wednesday, over 4 summits, took 6 hours and felt great.
There must have been a time when you were in hospital that you would have thought that was not when you'd been here.
I know, absolutely. Yeah, I thought, you know, I've been blessed with, you know, that everything's fine now.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Happy days.
Yeah. And here to tell us the story, which
absolutely,
is But that wasn't the end of your testing for both of you. So,
no,
please tell us a wee bit about your story.
Well, we're just sort of getting over the David thing. It kind of all feels like one thing. I can't remember the gap really. But the very before lockdown, my mum started displaying symptoms, but not like COVID symptoms. My dad was very anxious about this virus, and
your mum had existing symptoms.
She's got COPD and brittle asthma. She would like you to know that she's never smoked. She hates having COPD because it's connected, but she's never smoked. She hates it.
So your dad would have been extra cautious on your mum's behalf.
And we all were worried about my mum contracting it. But 2 weeks, just before lockdown, wasn't it? She started displaying symptoms, but as I say, not the ones you were told to look out for. And she ended up very ill, over 11 days at home. GPs were out about 3 times, but they were reluctant to send her to hospital because, as I say, the symptoms were different in case she got it in hospital. So we don't blame them at all. And she was then admitted 11 days later. And I saw her through a window before she went, and I really, really didn't think I would see her again. She was really, it was not good. So she went in on the Thursday. My dad used to get chest infections. So when he'd been phoning the GP's surgery about my mum, they'd said it's just a little practice and bigger. And they had said, you sound a bit chesty. Oh, I think I've got a chest infection coming on. So over the phone they gave him antibiotics for that, so he was taking them. And then Mum went in on the Thursday, and on the Saturday I spoke to my dad on the phone and I said, Dad, is that you trying to breathe, that noise? And he went, yeah, I think I've got this. So I said, Dad, what's your temperature? So he took his temperature and it was 39.3. And I said, no, Dad, we need to get you an ambulance. You can't. No, I'm not going down on a Saturday night. He was not up for it. But we arrived at the house, didn't we?
Yeah, aye.
Forced him to go. But he walked to the ambulance and they opened the ambulance doors and, you know. And
So
he went
here
in.
you are in the space of this time, having been through what you were through with David, and then your mum, and here's your dad now, haven't you?
Yeah. In the meantime, Mum is recovering. She's doing really well. Daily, she was getting better. Just with the drips and things she'd been on, what a difference. And the miracle about her was that she didn't get anything respiratory with COVID.
Was there a different type? Was there?
Well, she seemed to have a different strain of it. She had it was in a gastric form. She had it, but anyone in here that knows my mum, on a daily basis she can't breathe. Her breathing was fine the whole time she had this. You know, who was that?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, her breathing was absolutely fine all the way through until she got home and she was back again. But she, you know.
I remember even sometimes during our belongings, when you know when you were coming into it, there was nights that your mum didn't make it because of the breathing situation as well. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. So this whole time that she had COVID, her breathing was fine.
Wow.
So she was doing really well. Dad was in Ward 7 and then they said that they had to increase his oxygen, put him in a CPAP machine. So they were moving him at high dependency. And then he struggled. He was very claustrophobic, my dad, but I think anyone on these CPAP machines are not nice. And he struggled for a week and it was hard because he couldn't be there. Really hard.
That's the hard part of it.
You can't help him, you can't be with him. And then on the following Saturday, a week later, I got a phone call. I was not expecting. We were at a dog walk, weren't we? To say that they would have to reduce the oxygen gradually and let him pass away. And it was just...
That would be so hard.
Horrific. So he... Sorry.
That's okay.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, that's okay.
But he was offered ventilation, but he chose not to. And it was the right choice because if he'd recovered, he wouldn't have been the man he was. Yeah. And I know the way he thought and he knew where he was going.
And that made a difference. And your mum was still in hospital at this time?
Mum was still in hospital. And that was the biggest bit. It was like, how am I going to tell my mum, you know, because she was in a ward. So I think we had a bit of time to think about it walking back, didn't we, at the house. And phoned the staff, and the lovely staff took her to her room and told her it couldn't be me because she would...
So there's another thing that in the normal circumstance it would have been you. Okay.
We just can't praise these staff, all of them, every last one of them that looked after both mum and dad. They went above and beyond for all of them. They were incredible.
Did mum get to be with
Mum did. They took my mum over, gave her the news, and then took her in. And she was with him, and then at the time she was with him, she didn't know if he knew. She knew, if you know what I mean. So, so
if he was aware of it.
So she had to go back over for a couple of hours, and then she came back to be with him, and the machine was removed, and he slipped away at 1:35, which made it Easter Sunday. So for that, you know, my mum just gets so much comfort out of that. He went to be with his Lord on Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday as well. And it was the last thing that even we as a church were expecting. And but there was still, and we felt that from you, such a sense of hope you know, such a,
Yeah.
not what any of us would have wanted the story to end like,
No,
but
no.
there was such a sense of hope. And I'm thinking that there's times when our faith is tested in such ways that we can go one way or another, you know, that you can start to say, or question God, or you turn away, you have the why God, but I believe that for you guys that it was a strengthening, a going towards God in it.
Yeah. I think that you can't question God, because God knows what He's doing.
Yeah.
And if you accept that, then you just got to try and think of it. And God, God doesn't make decisions based on your feelings.
Yes.
It's whatever. It's He does it for the right reasons all the time. And you just got to, if you believe in Him, you've got to trust in Him.
Yeah. And we have this hope.
Yes.
And I think that is what makes the difference for us in the circumstances, that there is a hope that we have.
I definitely felt that through the really hard days at the beginning, when Dad had just died and Mum was still in hospital, I actually felt He was lifting me right through it. Everything that if I panicked about, there was the situation of Mum getting home, what was going to happen, did we need carers and things like that because she was so ill.
And you still had all that to think
And
about
there was
in the
still a
midst of what was going on.
Was she going to get to the funeral?
I know.
All these things. You know what it's like, were the funds going to be clear for the funeral? All these things.
Yes.
And it was as if He was just patting me in the back going, I've got this. You sit down. You could feel it all the way through.
Yeah.
So much.
And I know that there was times when people had said that they came thinking to comfort you guys, and yous were able to comfort at times them, and that's the grace of God in the situation as well. So, amazing. And you've become a bit of a celebrity, I believe, in the midst of it all. Tell us a wee bit about that, John.
What's happened was, as I say, just when Dad died, my mum was still in hospital. It was pretty horrific being stuck in the house, locked down. Can't have anybody at. Usually the house would be full of people, wouldn't it? When somebody dies, there's, and it couldn't happen. So you find yourself a bit obsessed with looking for other stories the same. And it was on the BBC News quite a lot, and I was looking at it all the time, and because nobody gets it till you're there, There was a chap's story about his dad dying, and he'd set up a Facebook group called Alone Together, and he set it up the night of his dad's funeral.
His father then had passed with COVID as well. Okay.
Yep. His mum had it too and recovered, and it's just such a lovely group because the whole ethos of it is love and support. That's all he wants it to be.
So did you enjoying it at that
no
point?
Moaning, none of that. It's they're directed elsewhere. It's just to be about support and love. So it was great. So good. So. And you find yourself, just being able to, at different stages, just losing people. You'd done that bit,
So here's where you were in your journey, and folks that were just at the beginning.
People, and that helps you, So it has been a big help.
Just being able to hear their stories as well.
And you have a unity with people, that have been through the same thing, and it has been really good. So through the trying to promote the groups, because there's been so many people lost loved ones. The BBC were interested, so because I was Scottish and he's down south, they got me involved in a few bits and bobs. So I've been on the radio, I've been on the TV, Mum and I, and I'm back on the TV next week, and it's been. But the night that Mum and I were on the news, there's 130 people joined the group.
That's amazing.
From hearing that broadcast, so they're
to bring something positive out of what had happened in this guy's life. What's his name?
Liam Mayer.
Amazing. And the group's name was
Alone Together.
Alone Together. Wow. So positive, isn't it, out of that as well? So, And for you guys going forward, you're going back to work full time here?
Monday, yeah. Well, I was just on phase return when lockdown started.
Right.
So I've not been at work since like 20th of October now.
I'm going to be a shock to your sister.
I know. I was
in yesterday.
I was in yesterday. I come in yesterday and I was like, as soon as I got home, it was like shattered. So a full week next week is going to be a tough one. But,
just getting back into routine again as well.
Yeah.
But so do you appreciate life more? Do you think there is a sense of every day is precious?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we've got so much to be thankful for, you know, although we've been through
so much.
You know, so it's a fair bit, you know, we've got so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know.
There's so much to be thankful for, because the wee thought in my mind is I could have lost all three of them.
Absolutely. And there must have been times when each emotion after it had been David, you were thinking, oh no again, So wow. And you know, there is times whenever we, as in the valleys, that we actually are more tender and more open to hearing from God. You know, when everything is okay, we're going on in that, but that whole tenderness of that needing Him and knowing that you're saying that you felt as if He was carrying you through it as well. Was that the same for you during your time of illness, David? Did you feel that?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, at my lowest points, He spoke to me all the time. You know, through scripture. He kept on giving me verses and stuff like that, like, you know, and you know, I took so much comfort from it, you know, and it absolutely helped me through it. Knowing that, you know, He was in charge. He was looking over me.
And for you, you have the hope of seeing your dad, which before you probably came to faith, that wouldn't have been your story. So, but your dad was a man of faith for and had prayed for his girl for such a long time.
Saw me baptised, saw me settled with this one, become a Christian, and
that was
to be part of this church, and nearly was, which was lovely.
And so many things that you're able to look back on and have seen that are precious memories.
Yes.
So that could have been so different as well. So is your hope that you know you'll see your dad again? Does that make a difference?
Yes.
I think so, doesn't it?
It really does.
It brings such a peace. And you know, I think the Bible says that we mourn but not as others mourn. You know, that we grieve but not as others grieve as well. So.
I think do you know the Kavasici? You know about the vision. The vision she had.
The next day.
That was amazing, because her mum Denise didn't know whether to share it with us, but she did, and Kaz had a vision the night he died or the night after he died?
The very next, the morning.
Yeah, the morning that she'd seen her Uncle Donald.
And her papa.
Yeah,
which was
with
my
her
hope,
papa
together.
At the gates of heaven.
Wow.
That you got a lot of comfort from that, didn't you? That was,
explain who it was that had the vision, who this was that had that vision.
It was Cara Ritchie.
That is so lovely.
So her papa and my dad were brothers.
Yes.
And that was my hope, that my dad was in heaven, my uncle Eric. And
did that bring a measure of peace?
Even
confirmed it.
Confirmed it.
It's incredible.
Because in your grief, you're just like lost. You're, you know, and I remember thinking, I wonder, do you go right away? Is he there yet? You know, and you know, it's all that. You know, her vision just.
We hold on to these moments as well.
Really as well.
So, and I've asked each of the couples that we've interviewed, just to finish off with, of what would you want to leave with folks that are maybe not going through the exact same as what you have gone through, but you know, maybe similar circumstances where faith is tested, where there are the trials. So David, I'll ask you first, what would you want to?
I think, you know, is to trust in God. You know, 100%. He, you know, even in your darkest times, that He has got your back, you know, and He will pull you through if you trust in Him and if you love Him and if you put Him in, you know, at the heart of everything you do. You know that God's there, you know, and you just trust in Him.
Don't panic. Ask Him first. First person you go to.
Okay.
That worked.
Yeah. Rather than once we've run out of our own devices, that we'll now pray.
Excellent.
Guys, thank you so much. That has been amazing. It's been a real blessing just to hear your stories, and it's more about seeing how you have come through it, that as we as a church have been able to journey that with you. And you guys have been amazing. So thank you. Thank you so much.
There's a grace when that heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fire. Was another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free? There's a cross that bears the burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fire. My dead left for dead beneath the waters. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning, either way I won't bow to the things of this world. And I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding, a power set me free. There is a grave that holds nobody, and now that power lives in me. There is another in the fire. Oh, there is another in the fire. Oh, there is another in the fire. Oh, there is another in the fire. Oh. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. And I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar there'll be another in the fire. Standing next to me, there'll be another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. There'll be another in the fire. Standing next to me, there'll be another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be.
Thanks for joining us today. If you're new to the church and you're not watching this via our website, then please visit us by clicking on the link shown below. If you are watching this on our YouTube channel, please remember to like and subscribe so you will be notified as new videos are uploaded. We'd also love to hear from you, so if you want to get in touch or if you have any prayer requests, please contact us at hello@connect.co.uk. Thank you, and we hope you have a good week. Bye!
You conquered death forever in victory.